Hi, my name is Tim Wallace, and today I'm going to be completing the CSS Battle for July 7th, 2024. Let's take a look at the design for today. We have these two large circles on each side, with a dot in the middle and a line underneath the dot. So let's just clean up this code a little bit. We can remove this just to make it a little bit cleaner. We're going to need 4 divs, one for each of the elements, and we're going to need to give them some names. First one I'm going to call circle left. The next one I'm going to call dot. The one after that will be the line. And lastly, we will have the circle on the right side. I think to start off, I'm going to do a little bit of styling on the body. I'm just going to give it a background color, which is going to be this orange. Next, we can give the background color to our divs, which is going to be this yellow. And we can remove this height and width from our divs as they're all going to be different. Let's start off with the circles. So the circles are going to need a height and width. For a height, let's try 400 pixels. And a width, let's also give it 400 pixels. It's also going to need a border radius. To turn it into a circle, we'll give it a border radius of 50%. And we'll give it a position of absolute so that we can position it into the proper location on the page. So to start with the positioning, we can start with our left circle. We're going to need to move it towards the left. So it's going to need to move away from the right. Let's try 200 pixels. And for the right, let's move it away from the left. Let's try 200 pixels. Looks like we have a spelling error here. This should be absolute. And we're going to need to center them vertically as well. So we're going to need to move them upwards. We can do this by using a negative top. We can maybe move them up 50 pixels. Looks like they're too close together. We're going to need to move them farther apart. We can try 250. We're just going to play with these a little bit until we find the correct positioning for these. Looks like our curve is not matching up. It looks like we're going to need to add a little bit of height to it. I think we're going to need to move them upwards a little bit more. We can try 75 pixels. And we're getting close. We just need to move them out a little bit further. We'll try 275 for the left and 275 pixels for the right. And there we go. It looks like our circles are positioned nicely. So now we can move on to our line and dot. Let's start off with the dot. We'll give it a height and width to begin with. It's also going to need to be centered in the middle of the page. To do that, I'm going to use margin. We'll give it a margin of 0 and auto. And we're also going to need a border radius to turn it into a circle. We'll give it a value of 50% here. So now let's move on to the positioning. It looks like it's going to need to move away from the top. We can do that with margin. We can add a margin top. Let's try 75 pixels. Looks like it's lining up there. And the last element we need to take care of is the line. This one's going to be a little bit similar to our dot. We're going to use the margin to center it. We're also going to need to add a height and width. Going to need to increase the height. Let's try 150 pixels. So to position the line, we can actually adjust of the margin on our dot. We can add 75, auto, 0, and auto. We can remove this margin top now. And let's try 10 pixels on the bottom to push down our line. Looks like we need a little bit more. Let's try 15. And our line looks a little bit too short. We need to add a little bit more height. Let's try 160. We can add a border radius of 25 pixels. And there's a couple options we can do to get rid of this radius at the bottom. We can actually add a border radius for each corner. But what I think I'm going to do is just increase the height so that that border radius is hidden off the page. So change the height to 190. That's going to push the bottom of our line off the page so we can't see it. And now it looks like we have a matching target. Let's submit it just to make sure. And there we have it. We've got a 100% match. And just to review, we've been using a lot of position absolute to adjust our circles and position those, and using the margin of auto left and right to position our circle and line in the middle. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.